In regards to the first 2 videos that I filmed and the massive amounts of shade that I threw at the gaming community, I would like to issue a formal apology. I have worn this shirt in support of all of you. I am truly sorry. I really respect everything that you do. I look like a floating freaking head, a pale floating freaking head. I thought that I wanted a black backdrop, but then I wore this and then I was like, I don't really know if it works, but I'm just gonna stick with it anyway because I don't feel like taking it down. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I keep forgetting to say that. I do want to introduce myself. My name is Katy. If this is the first video you're watching, then welcome to my channel. I am so excited to finally sit down and film this video because we are actually talking about makeup. I'm getting ready for work again, and this time I actually wanted to get ready and kind of go through the steps that I'm doing and explain what I'm doing. I don't want it to be like a strict tutorial. I just want to chill, get ready for work, get ready with you. So if you'd like to watch me get ready for work, then just keep watching. I have a serious addiction to yellow Red Bull. If I don't have yellow Red Bull, I get migraines. It's bad. Let's just start off and talk about my skin. My skin really just wants to play me. I do the same shit all the time, and yet sometimes my skin is perfectly clear. Sometimes it looks like this. Sometimes it looks worse than this. Because my skin is a little more sensitive, I like to use a gel moisturizer, so I really like the Neutrogena Hydra Boost, and I know that my face is going to get so red as I'm putting on moisturizer and primer. Don't be alarmed, it is just my skin and I'm just really sensitive. Next I'm gonna go in with the Touch in Sol Glassy Skin Balm. My skin is so dry right now, you have no freaking clue. I don't know what is going on. Well, I do know what's going on. It's called freaking fall. When I'm doing my makeup for work, I like to wear a lot of powders. So I feel like if I kind of start off really moisturizing, then my skin doesn't feel super dry. Next, I'm going in with the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer because my pores are obnoxiously large. I don't put this primer all over my face. I just put it in this area right here and I really press it into my pores. And I know that sounds borderline foul, but it just helps to fill them in and just blur this area out. One thing I will say about filming YouTube videos is the fact that editing them is just so horrifying. You're staring at yourself, listening to yourself speak for hours, and it's the most cringy experience. And you just watch every little thing that you do that's just annoying. So far, I have realized that I play with my hair way too fucking much, so that's why I put it up. I am completely immune to dogs barking. There will be dogs barking for like 5 minutes and I'm just like and I don't even know. That's how immune I am to dogs barking at this point. I live with 6 dogs, so I guess it's like understandable, but it's just amazing to me that I'm editing, listening to the dogs barking so loud and I'm just talking like nothing is going on. So if I continue to do that, I'm really sorry. I'm trying to be more self-conscious about things. I wrote down notes like stop playing with your hair, listen to dogs barking, make sure you're recording. I say like all the time, I say all the time. I'm just like, so I just started again. I definitely need to work on things, but like I said, it's a journey, it's an experience. I'm trying. So I'm just gonna let that sink into the skin for a second. I usually get spray tans on Fridays and I was not able to get a spray tan. Most of the foundations that I have are for when I am spray tanned. So this is the lightest one that I have right now. So if it sucks and it's a terrible color match, then I'm sorry. I'm just going in with the Maybelline, I think it's called the Maybelline Stay Matte. I don't know where the lid is and it doesn't say it on here, but it's this one. A lot of people ask me all the time what foundations I use, and I'm telling you, 95% of the time it's drugstore. I feel like it's a little outrageous to spend $50, $60 on an ounce of fluid. And I just use the Real Technique sponge. I'm not gonna lie, I hate that sponge for the first couple times that you use it. But once it looks like filthy dirty after you've used it a couple times and you've washed it and rinsed it, it just works a lot better. I don't know why. I'm gonna take this down the neck because you don't want any lines of demarcation. And you also want it to match so you're not looking like you're wearing just a mask of makeup and it ends. You want it to like flow. All right, now that I look like freaking Casper, I'm going to make myself appear even paler by putting this really light concealer under my eyes. I'm using the Tarte Shape Tape in the color Light Sand. Because there's foundation left over on the sponge, it'll definitely dull down the brightness of this concealer. I feel like if I go any darker than this shade, it kind of ends up just being the same exact color as my actual skin tone, so I do still like to go a couple shades lighter. I put this lighter concealer basically in all the points where light would naturally hit my face. If you imagine yourself standing in front of a light and think of the places that the light would naturally hit first, it would just hit the high points of your face. So it would hit the center of your nose, it would hit your forehead, it would hit your chin. So I like to highlight those parts as well. And Tarte Shape Tape actually works really good as an eyeshadow primer, so I like to put a good amount on my eyes as a prep for shadow. Next, I'm gonna go in with the Maybelline Fit Me Powder in Fair. Dude, I'm telling you, this powder is so slept on. It's just so good, and it's like $5, maybe $6, but it's cheap. My favorite part about the Real Technique sponge is that it has 3 different sides, and I use each side for a different thing. So when you look at it this way, I use this side to apply my foundation. I use this side to apply my powder. I use this side later on. I'll show you what I use this side for. So I'm going to dip the back end into the lid. I just poured powder onto the lid. I'm going to dip a pretty good amount. I'm just going to press this all under my eye and down into those pores. And this is what's really gonna fill in those pores and make it look more blurred out. Like I said, I know it sounds a little foul to be pressing product into your pores, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And I also like to bring this on the sides of my nose. Product will break apart on your nose pretty quickly. So next, I just take a brush that is very fluffy and not dense at all, and I go in with a little bit of a darker translucent powder, and I put a very thin layer on the rest of my face. And the reason why I do this is because when I apply my powder bronzers, my powder blushes, it just gives it a very like smooth surface to apply to. It's not sticky, it doesn't have that wet liquid foundation that it's sticking onto. I'm kind of just setting it loosely with this medium powder. If I load up my brush with bronzer and then I make contact with my face, wherever I'm making contact, it's going to stick the most and adhere. And you can blend it out from that point. It just makes it a lot harder. So I like to set my cheek area and my neck so it doesn't get all over my clothes, even though it still does. If you're wondering what brush I was using to gently set my face, it was the Aesthetica P12. I've never even heard of the brand before I got it in my BoxyCharm. BoxyCharm is like a monthly subscription if you don't know what that is. Next, I'm gonna take the Morphe M527 and the Milani Baked Bronzer in Soleil. This actually has a little bit of a shimmer to it, and I'm not the biggest fan of shimmer bronzers, but it's a really pretty luminous looking shimmer. It's not like a glittery shimmer, so I don't really mind it, especially when it's like fall, winter time. I still like my skin to have a healthy glow to it. I just take this bronzer and I gently put it on the perimeter of my forehead. I really like to push the product back into my hair, so once again there's no lines of demarcation and you don't just have like bronzer and then your pale hairline. If you have a lighter hair color and you don't want to do that, because some of you might have seen I was doing that to Mikey and I got bronzer in her bleach blonde hair, you can literally just place your hand on your hairline to avoid getting it in your hair. And if you do get it in your hair, all you have to do is take a makeup wipe and oh so carefully just go and wipe it out of your hair, and it'll actually probably slick down any flyaways that you have. So see, comes right off. That is typically the only place that I will put that bronzer because I do not want a shimmery bronzer on my contour line. When it comes to contouring, I do something a little different. I take a Morphe M530. It's just a fluffier round brush, and I will go into my Anastasia medium to tan contour kit. I will literally just mix together this cooler tone and then these 2 warmer tones. And I mostly want to work this one into my skin because it is my contour line and I do want a little bit of a cooler tone right there. And if you're having trouble finding where to contour, you're basically just gonna go from the tip of your ear to about the tip of your mouth. Then I kind of like to take whatever's left on the brush without dipping back into the product and just kind of sweeping it up. Blending it upwards, never downwards, and once again, back into that hairline. When I said I like to contour a little bit differently, this is something that I do to myself and to some of my clients that I don't really see a lot of people ever doing. I go in with a Morphe M510. Do you see this really dark color in the palette? I know it looks super intense and a little intimidating, but I haven't got my nails done in like 2 years, and I will say I don't miss them until I'm trying to like open something. If I had nails, it'd be a lot easier. That color is called Espresso. I would never in a million years contour my face with this, but I like to dip into it very gently and tap off the excess, and right in this area I will go in and shadow that a little bit more. I know it seems a little weird, I feel like it just gives a more realistic look to having a higher cheekbone. That part just looks a little more sunken in. And then I go back in with that round brush and I pick up that cool tone one more time along with those lighter ones. I like to put the product right under this line. So not actually on to my face, but rather right under. In the one video I filmed, I literally drugged this product all the way back here and then forgot to blend it. And I was like, ew, how could I? Amateur. And then I like to take it a little down my neck, just so there's no harsh lines. Then what I will do to clean up that contour and make sure that this is really sharp is I go back in with the medium powder on a Morphe Who Freaking Knows What brush. It's a holiday one, it doesn't have a name on it. I will draw a line right under, and right away I will blend it out. I don't want it to look like a crazy sharp line. I just want it to look cleaned up under there and make sure that no bronzer got under. And I also will make sure that jaw contour is blended in. I know my forehead looks a little crazy still, but you can also take that powder and just kind of go over the bronzer so you don't look like you're wearing a complete bronzer helmet. I love how I said that this wasn't gonna be like a tutorial, and it's just like very much a tutorial at this point. Next, I'm gonna take the Alamar Blush Trio. I also got this in my BoxyCharm. I'm just gonna mix all these shades together. And these blushes are so pigmented. I like to just kind of go into my palm and mix everything. And I'll actually go in and pick up the product back off of my palm for the other side. I never like to put blush like really on the apples of my cheeks. I kind of like to put it, if you would draw a line from the pupil of your eye all the way down, I kind of don't ever bring it in past that. I just kind of feather it up and back and mix it into that contour. But I also just like to take this brush and gently, I'm not saying like look like Rudolph the goddamn freaking red-nosed reindeer, I'm just saying very gently. I will take this and I will put it under my nose and then on the bridge of my nose. And I will also, hey! This is why. I will also go back in with that bronzer brush that I was using and put that on my nose as well, just to warm it up before I contour. Next, I'm just gonna contour my nose with that same exact cool tone shade. I really want to do like a more in-depth video on contouring my nose, so I'm not gonna go super in-depth while I'm doing this. I'm basically just taking that cool tone shade and going down the sides, going underneath, and then cleaning it up. Next, I'm just gonna take my Hyper Real Glow palette from MAC, and I'm gonna be using the first shade, the more golden one. I'm gonna take the tiniest little pencil brush and highlight down the center of my nose, and also a little on the tip. I have a rather long nose, so I only like to highlight the very top and then a little on the tip. I feel like if I highlight one line all the way down, then it just makes it look even longer. And when I highlight the tip, I like to highlight the very like top of the tip so that it appears shorter. Does it work? I'd like to believe so. Now that that is done, I'm going to highlight the rest of my face. I like to take the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist, or you can honestly use any setting spray. I know it may seem a little odd, but I like to spray the back of the sponge the littlest amount, tap out the excess, make sure it's just damp, and then I like to hit the tops of my cheeks with this. Because remember I was telling you that I want the bronzer and blush to kind of like glide on my face? Well, I want the highlight to stick and adhere and be a little more blinding, if you will. I like to dip between the first and the second shades and then go in with the highlight. I also like to take the highlighter into the brow and kind of highlight this whole area. See how blinding that is? And then I will go back in with that blush brush one more time and kind of go right along the edges to make sure it all meshes well. I'm like, I don't know why I was doing that. So the face is pretty much done. I'm going to do my brows off camera because this video literally cannot be 45 minutes long. I just can't. So I'm gonna do my brows off camera. I will pop back on and then finish the rest of my face. Okay, we are back. I'm actually gonna do my lips really quick because my lips have been so chapped and dry. That's why they look freaking disgusting. I have gotten lip filler before, but it's been over a year since I've gotten it. I feel like I can get the appearance of larger lips without it. Not that I'm ever not gonna do it again, I probably will, but I just haven't done it in over a year. I like to first take a translucent powder and rub it all along the lip line, because this will ensure that your lipstick doesn't run everywhere. Sometimes if you use a little bit of a creamier lip, it'll kind of smear and run. Then I like to take a smaller brush, go into that Anastasia kit one more time, into that cooler shade, and run it all along the bottom of my lip, almost lining your lip with that contour shade. And I like to focus most of the product right in the dead center and then feather it out from there. And this will give the appearance of a larger, more pouty bottom lip. I like to go in with a little bit of a fluffier brush and blend that contour up. Whatever is left over on the brush, I will go dead in the center of that Cupid's bow and draw and shadow in that part. And I'll also take just the tiniest bit and I'll run it right along the sides here and right along the sides here. And I'll go over with that brush one more time and blend it inward. I like to take more of a like brownish nude color, but I like to take cork, and sometimes if I don't use cork, I'll use spice. And these are both from MAC Cosmetics. I make sure it's really sharp every single time, but I will line my bottom lip, and then I like to slightly overline my top lip. And when I say slightly, I mean like overline the shit out of it. I like to make an X here, and I kind of use my pinky as an anchor. And if you don't have a super defined Cupid's bow, you can always draw one. And then I like to just follow it all the way over, lining right above my lip line. Now once I've lined and I have the basic shape that I want, I just kind of take my pencil and I will fill in just a little bit. Now you do not have to use such contrasting lip liners and lipsticks, but I just like that look. I know it's very like 90s and might not be like this style anymore, but I don't know, I just like what I like. Now I'm going to go in with Jeffree Star Mannequin Liquid Lipstick. The applicator on these liquid lipsticks is honestly so good. You could just press pretty hard as you're applying it along that lip line and it'll basically do the blending work for you. How insanely different do my lips look? It's all a lie, people. Now, first and foremost, before I start pretty much any eyeshadow look, I almost always highlight my brow bone, and I almost always use the same exact color that I use for my highlighter, just so everything kind of looks a little more cohesive. And if any of this highlight gets lost, then I will apply more at the end, but I do like applying it before just so it blends a little bit better into the transition shades. Now, for the exciting part, I'm going to open up this package. I've not seen this eyeshadow palette yet. I've literally not opened it because I wanted to open it on camera. And then just in case you guys were wondering, I think this palette was like all said and done after shipping and everything. I think it was like $56, which is a little expensive, but eyeshadow palettes last forever. This is just like the protective case that goes on top. Wow. Oh my god, that mirror is so good. Don't take that mirror. Dude, my shit's such a mess. This is what the palette looks like. So you have a row of glitter, a row of metallic shades, a row of sequin shades, which is a really cool formula because it's actually a matte formula, but it has flecks of glitter in it. And then you have the matte shades. I feel like I want to go all out. You know, I'm just gonna play. I'm gonna see where it takes me. I feel like that's always the best policy. And typically I wouldn't do my lips before shadow, but I already knew what this looked like and I knew that this lip color would kind of go with everything that I did, so that's why I did that. And plus, my lips were so gross. I'm going to hop into this shade first as my transition shade, and I'm using a MAC 286 brush for this. This is like a duo fiber blending brush. This is one of my favorite brushes ever. I feel like I'm so hunched over. Oh, I hate being hunched over. Like, ooh, kills my back. The one thing I want to tell people about doing eyeshadow is sometimes eyeshadow is just not a pretty process. Even when a look maybe like might not be going your way and you're kind of in it and you're just like, this is not what I wanted. Just finish. Practice makes perfect. And sometimes when you're in the middle of an eyeshadow look, it just might look like shit, and then at the end, it might all come together. You really never know. And it's amazing what a lash can do. And I know for myself especially, the way my eye shape is set up, half the time my eyeshadow looks like actual dog shit until the end. Once I put this blending brush on my eye, I literally don't pick it up off my eye. And that's how you will ensure that you will get the most blended transition. You just want to work in windshield wiper motions back and forth. I also like to bring it into this corner so everything looks like it comes together, and then kind of scratch the sides, feather it out. And especially for transition shades, you want to keep your hands back here on the brush. Just keep it very loose in your hand. It should never be like a super tight, precise grip. Now I'm going to take a little bit of a smaller brush, and this is a MAC 217, and yes, my dogs went to town on it. And I'm just going to take a mixture of this shade, and I'm going to run that into my transition as well. I like to first stamp that color on in the places that I want it. Right now I'm just laying the product down, and now I can go back and forth and blend it out. Bringing it all the way in, and then blending back and forth into the crease and a little bit above. And as I'm going a little bit above, I'm using less pressure. I'm gonna bring my grip back on that brush, and I'm gonna just scratch the edges. I have a scar here, so it's a little bit harder for me to blend on this eye. I want to go back in with that fluffier brush, and I want to go into this orangey shade a little bit more because I feel like it definitely pulled more burgundy than it pulled that burnt orange color. So I'm just going to go right on top and make sure that that burnt orange is still prominent. I'm going to take the black color mixed with this burnt orange color mixed with this deep cranberry burgundy color, and I'm going to put that just into my crease. So I'm not gonna bring that up. I'm just gonna keep that tight into my crease. But I'm going to make sure I dust off every little bit of excess because I don't want any fallout. I don't care if this gets onto my lid because I'm going to cover the lid anyway. I'm just taking it and I'm putting it all along the crease. It's so funny because a lot of times when I take clients freelancing, I hate that they want a mirror to watch me do their makeup because I just feel like the process is sometimes so ugly. I don't want them to freak out and be like, what are you doing? That looks awful. I mean, I never don't let them hold a mirror if they want to, but I just assure them time and time again, it'll all come together, okay, I promise. Okay, so now that I look like an idiot, I'm going to go back in with that MAC 217, and I'm going to once again tap back into that burnt orange and burgundy shade and go over that black and make sure there's no harsh lines. Now I'm going to take a MAC 242 brush and just go in with that black shade, and I'm going to pack that all over my lid. And when you're packing shadows onto the lid, you'd want to use a more flat packer brush. You don't want to use like a fluffy blending brush to pack colors onto the lid. If I was to use a brush like this to pack that black on, there would be black everywhere. And I'm mostly focusing that black closer to my lash line and then just patting it up as I go. I'm just gonna take that same exact brush that I used to pack on that black shade, and I'm just kind of cleaning it off. I'm going to go in with this shade, and I'm going to pack that all over the lid and see how that looks. And then I might add some of this or this, I'm not sure yet, but I want to start off initially with this shade. I'm leaning my head back when I'm doing this because I don't want glitter to fall all over my face. And now I'm doing like this little crisscrossy action. And I'm bringing my brush up from the top to just get in the harder to reach corners. Holy shit, this is so pretty. It looks wet. It's like silver, but it's gold, but it's black, but it's gray, but it's just such a cool color. This is literally my favorite thing to do in the world though, is just to sit down and play with makeup and just do like the craziest shit. Mind you, is this the most wearable look? No. But like for a night out or New Year's is coming up, now I'm gonna go back in with this tan color, and I'm going to run that pretty low on my lash line. I can feel where my eyeball ends, and I'm kind of just going along the rim of where my eyeball ends. I just like making my eyes appear super open and large, especially when you're using dark colors like this. The more open you can make your eyes look, the better. Now I'm going in with a semi-clean, larger blending brush, and I'm just going right under that. I'm going to go in with a more precise pencil brush, and I'm dipping into that burgundy and burnt orange shade. And I'm taking this way tighter under my eye. I'm not bringing this color down very far. That burgundy shade is very overpowering, so I'm dipping more into the burnt orange than I am the burgundy. Plus, because I'm so pale right now, I don't really want to put so much pink under my eye because you can look kind of sickly pretty quickly. Ew. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. Now I'm gonna go in with a flat definer brush. This is a MAC 212 brush. Dipping into that black shade, and I'm just putting it really, really tight on my lash line. And I'm only bringing it in about halfway, and then going back in with that small pencil brush, I'm gonna blend that out. And keep in mind, blacks are never the easiest color to blend, so you always wanna add a little bit at a time and blend it and then add more. You can always add product. It's almost impossible to take it away. So just be careful. This is the Better Than Sex mascara from Too Faced. I'm gonna be using Lily lashes in the style Mykonos, and the reason why I want to use these lashes is because even though I did a lot of lid work and put glitter there, I don't want it to look so intense when I'm looking straight at somebody. I just want it to be that when I blink and look down, you can see like a pop, but when I'm looking dead on at somebody, the lashes will kind of cover my lid and it won't look like so crazy and so unwearable. And just a tip about lashes, like this is how they come in the box, so if you're ever wondering like which one goes on one eye, this one goes on this eye, this one goes on this eye. I know it's sometimes hard to tell because lashes will look kind of similar, but just be super careful when you're taking your lashes off. I like to try to multitask as much as I can when I'm doing my makeup, so I will put on my lash glue and then I will finish up the last part of my eye. I'm going to take a gel eyeliner and I'm using the Maybelline Eye Studio. I think it's called Blackest Black. I'm just loading that onto a little tiny liner brush and I'm basically running this along my upper lash line, and I'm also going to run this on the bottom. Putting liner on your bottom lash line will definitely close off your eye and make it appear smaller, but that is why I wanted to smoke that shadow so far down, because I didn't want the eyes to look super tiny. I feel like it is so much easier to apply lashes with a pair of tweezers or a lash applicator. I like to just use tweezers, but I know that they are kind of sharp. So if you're a beginner, maybe just start off with using a lash applicator. I've been doing makeup for years and it is still so hard for me to apply lashes without a pair of tweezers. And that is the final look. So I'm just going to set this with setting spray. And I'm freaking out because it is 8:58 and I'm supposed to leave at 9 o'clock. So I'm going to set this and I need to leave like now. I'm actually just gonna pop like a little bit of highlighter in my inner corner to open the eyes a little more. Oh my god, I'm shaking. I literally need to leave. Holy shit. It's literally 9 o'clock. I know I said this wasn't going to be like very much of a tutorial and it was like completely a tutorial. I'm sorry, this outro is the worst thing ever, but I seriously have to leave and I love you so much and thank you so much for watching and I will see you in my next video. Bye.